Houston Texans and the Carolina Panthers. This is now on the other side of a field goal, 3.5 in favor of the Texans on the road at the Carolina Panthers, a total of 43.5, right in between those two key numbers when it comes to totals of 43 and 44. Adam, what we know here is Carolina Panthers are coming out of a bye in which they have now they will have a new play caller for them. How much that will affect their offense, don't really know, but it is certainly can't be worse with all of this. And to give credit where credit's due, Bryce Young over the last 2 games heading into that bye at least looked a little bit more competent, looked a little bit more like he was understanding the speed a little bit better and things were coming to him a little bit better out there. We know CJ Stroud has been great all season long. I don't have to go there. We've talked about that a million times on the pod already. I guess my initial question to you is he ready for quarterback in a game where he is more than a field goal favorite on the road? Like, I know the Panthers have been bad. It's tempting to me to take the 3.5 though.
I mean, that's been the popular narrative this week is, can I lay 3 or now 3.5 with a rookie quarterback on the road? And man, Steven's going to love this. This long look ahead was 3 in the other direction. We are talking about a 6-point flip from where this game was initially. And you can tell me you've downgraded Carolina. I'd buy it. You can tell me you've upgraded Houston. I definitely buy that. That's a big ask to go on the other side of 3.5. And it's one of those situations where you have to trust numbers more than your eyes, right? Because your eyes have told you that Carolina's not good. Your numbers have told you that we expected these two teams to be a lot closer on the field than they've proven to be in the first 7 weeks of this season. And so you can put some faith in the Thomas Brown taking over play calling from Frank Reich. You can put some faith in them in teams coming off the bye. I personally had Carolina as a hard lean at 3. I think I probably have to play it at 3.5. I don't love it. There's a lot of injury report situation for Carolina on the defensive side of the ball that is not pretty here right now, from Brian Burns to Xavier Woods to there are multiple guys who are there. So I'll probably wait to play it because I didn't hate it at 3 in the first place. Maybe I get part of a stake in at 3.5 and then see where this ultimately lands. But I think that the Carolina has to be the side you look at if this is going to sit at more than a field goal.
Yeah, and this is one of those exercises here, Steven, where, if people wanted to play numbers earlier in the week and because you feel pretty good about a number and then you don't really know where it's going to go, this would be your classic middle opportunity. This was 2.5. It moved all the way through 3 to 3.5. Is this likely a field goal game? I could definitely see this game being a field goal game when it all comes down to it, and you win both sides of this thing. So just again, looking at the early lines and taking advantage of some of those as you assume that they might move throughout the course of the season. I mean, throughout the course of the week is certainly something we could look at here. I'll admit where, I'm wrong on some of these teams, and certainly the Panthers would fit that bill. I think you and I were right on the Texans heading in, that we thought this Texas team was going to be a little bit better than everyone was giving them credit for. I actually thought, though, the Panthers were going to be where the Houston Texans are now. I thought these teams would be flipped, right? I thought this would be Panthers are the team that everybody didn't really want on their schedule because they're just good enough to give you fits every week. That hasn't been the case. They're going to make some changes, apparently, not only from a play calling standpoint, but like a pace standpoint, from trying to run more no huddle. So I guess there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going to be tried, at least here from Carolina. Is that enough to entice a bet for you?
At this point, it's never Houston minus 3.5. I'm sorry. That's really rich. And I will admit, I did bet Texans minus 2.5 earlier in the week. That doesn't help anybody. But if you were in the lines.com Discord, which is free, you would have gotten 2.5 with the rest of us. So go join that. But the Texans offense should be able to move the ball pretty well in this game. Overall, they're 16th in pass offense success rate, 6th by EPA, 5th by DVOA. The Panthers defense is not only injured, but they've been really bad. Brian Burns has an elbow. We'll see. They have 6 defensive players on IR, including 2 of their really key pieces in J.C. Horn and Shaq Thompson. So that Texans offense, who's been pretty solid, is now facing a Panthers D that's 29th against the pass by DVOA, 16th by EPA, and 27th by success rate. So Texans should be able to move the ball here. I'm just really scared about this bet, to be honest with you, even though I'm on the right side of 3, because there's a lot of smart people this week who are backing the Panthers because of the change in play caller to Thomas Brown. And I think to bet Carolina here, based on what we've seen so far, it really is just blind faith that this new play caller is going to make a huge difference. So I guess we'll see. We'll see if it plays out that way. I'll say this. If you think it's going to make a big difference, and if you think Carolina's live to win this game, then you probably better also sprinkle a little bit on Bryce Young 80-1 to win Rookie of the Year, because he's about the only other guy I can see really catapulting up the board in the second half of the season that might actually have a chance at catching CJ Stroud, who's now favored over the field. If he has that head to win against Stroud and this new play caller actually makes a difference like you Panthers backers think, then I think that's the better bet this week, to be honest with you, and see if you get some equity the rest of the way. I'm not there. I need to see it first, and I'm willing to pay. So I took the 2.5 on the Texans.
Yeah, the play that was given out by one of the popular services out there earlier in the week, one of the prop services, was Adam Thielen on the over receptions. That is now juiced to high holy hell. So you can't do that at all. The over 5.5 is now at minus 155. Like everywhere, there's a minus 160 out there for that as well. I can't recommend the yardage on that either, really. I mean, the lowest you can find in the market out there is 63.5. The 63.5 for me is something that I don't think I feel comfortable going with. But I will say this. I cannot imagine that he is still not the focal point of this offense, given how poor this receiving core is. And so I would imagine Thielen still gets his early and often. If this were to tick to 6.5 and you were able to get some plus money on the receptions, might be something I would be tempted to get into the account. But again, that's wishful thinking. You have to check back in throughout the course of the week.